Hey guys, welcome back for another video. I'm Jerry Aliberti, owner of Pro-Accel. In this video, we're going to talk about what a change order is and the process of documenting it, implementing it, and billing for it. This is a really important topic because almost every single construction project, large and small, has change orders. And I hear many stories of contractors actually losing money from change orders, which I find very hard to believe, but it is happening. So let's talk about what a change order is. A change order is a formal request that goes above and beyond the original contract scope, right? It's that simple. You have your contract, you have the original scope that was part of that contract. Anything above and beyond that, or possibly if the owner wanted to make some changes, is called a change order. Identifying a change order. You identify a change order as soon as possible. It is pretty much due to design alterations, unforeseen site conditions, or maybe a client requested modification. Maybe the client or the owner wanted to change the materials, for example. If you're a heavy civil contractor, you're digging, the as-built didn't show that there was a utility right in line of where you're installing a new water main, that's a change order. Or maybe there's just a design alteration from the architect, which we know that they're always doing that, right? So that's how you identify a change order. The next step, documentation, insanely critical, right? So first you need to identify, you need to communicate that with the owner, and you need to agree that what you're identifying is actually a change order. Next is documenting it. The documentation is done either on a T&M basis, which is time and materials, or possibly it's an alteration that is going to be needed in maybe a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and something that you may need to estimate ahead of time and get an approval on that. So starting with the time and materials, every single day you perform that work, you need to document the labor, the materials, and the equipment that's used for that change order. Are there any subs that are involved in that change order as well? They need to be doing their own documentation, and you need to have that in your documentation as well. A big mistake that I see is a lot of contractors do not get these time and material sheets that they're making every day. You should be making them every day, signed off every single day by the owner, the owner's rep, or whoever is in charge that is going to be cutting out the check eventually, right? So every single day you need to get those time and material tickets, I like to call them, signed off. Now, if it's for future work, I highly recommend you get your professional estimators involved. And from there, you send them all the documents that they need. Maybe they do a site visit to kind of put their eyes on the situation and have them professionally put together a cost. If it's something simple and if you know how to estimate, you can handle this out in the field. But that is a big mistake if you don't know how to estimate, because that, in my opinion, is one of the major reasons why a lot of contractors are saying they're losing money from change orders, is because they're not estimating correctly, right? So now, assuming you got all your documentation right, the next is actually putting a cost to it. Aside from the future work, this is actually putting a cost to your T&M material, your time and material tickets. So now you got your man hours, you got your equipment, you got all the subs that are involved, you got all your materials. Now you're gonna go to all your purchase orders. You're going to go to your labor rates, whichever labor rates are in effect, and you're going to extend the hours, the materials used, the equipment used, and of course, you're going to include your subcontractor costs as well. And again, back to the previous step, if it is future work, your estimators need to also get your subs involved and kind of just treat it as a regular estimate and get their quotes, and then you submit their quotes with the additional overhead and profit that's allowed. It's another thing too, is if you're working for a public agency, for example, their specs clearly say how much overhead and profit you could put on. You can't just throw 50% overhead and profit on. It doesn't work like that. And every owner is different as well, but every owner has their own process with that as well, and their own rules and regulations with that as well. So you need to follow all that. You need to understand exactly how much overhead and profit you could put on that as well. The final step, submitting all your paperwork, submitting all your documents. So assuming you're not doing this work without it originally getting approved, which goes all the way back to step one, assuming you did all your proper documentation, which is all your time and material tickets, assuming you did a really good cost estimate, which is extending your time and material ticket extensions and also having a qualified estimator put together a qualified estimate that has your subcontractors and everything else that's included. Now it's time to submit your final invoice, right? This could be done if it's a large change order, maybe it could be done on a monthly basis. If it's maybe a 2-month change order, maybe you could just wait to the end of 2 months. Something that you need to work out on within your organization, understand your cash flow, and then also talk to the owner. And again, it's all about collaboration. It's all about communicating every single day. And then that's it. You submit your invoice, and then hopefully, if you're working for a good owner, you're going to get paid within net 30 days. So there's some special notes I really want to shed light on that is really important for contractors to understand. Like how I said in the beginning of the video, there's a lot of contractors who complain that they actually lose money on change orders. And it's understandable why, especially with the really large contractors. One, there's a lot of off-site costs that need to be included within these change orders as well. Especially if you're a heavy civil contractor and you're out on the roadway and you're building things. A lot of heavy civil contractors get some prefab work done, maybe in a welding shop that's off-site, or there's trucking that needs to be included in your change order that's happening off-site. This goes back to communication. This goes back to talking with the person who's signing off on your tickets every single day and letting them understand what's happening off-site in order for that change order to be accomplished. They're most likely career inspectors, they're career owner reps, they're owners who are hiring people to help them with the construction side because they just don't really understand the whole construction aspect of things. You're the contractor, you're the builder. You understand all the different steps that are required to get that specific scope of work, that change order completed. So off-site costs are very, very important to understand when documenting your change order. Next special note I would say is photos. We all have access to cameras these days. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you had to go back to the office and get the old school cameras. That's not the case anymore. Pull out your phone, snap as many pictures as possible. Put it inside of a network drive and document as many photos as possible every single day. Again, keep communicating with the inspectors. Let them know about the progress and let them know about all the different changes that are happening every day. Another special note is update your schedule. A lot of larger contractors, they'll hire an outside CPM scheduler. Or even if you have an in-house CPM scheduler, a lot of them are just sitting in their office and they're not part of these project management meetings and they're not part of what's actually happening out in the field every single day. And it's up to you, the project manager, the super, the owner, if you're a really small company and you're involved in the day-to-day operations, to let the scheduler understand how this is going to affect the schedule. Especially if you're in a public works project or you're in a really high profile project that has liquidated damages, you want to be able to document all of this. Again, it all goes back to documentation. I really feel that that's the reason why a lot of these contractors are losing money on change orders, or you could be ahead by proper documentation. Another special note, and this is probably the most important, is don't wait to submit your documentation. You need to submit this paperwork as soon as possible. Once your change order is complete, you need to submit your invoice. I know tons of contractors, they'll be done with a change order, they'll throw it inside the closet, they'll throw it inside their drawer, and they won't touch it for another year. Guess what happens in a year from now? Everybody forgot what happened. Proper documentation wasn't done. It's no longer fresh on mind. That $1, $2, $3 million worth of change orders is probably going to get cut in half. And I hear about that all the time. Don't let that be you. So I hope this video really helped. This is a really big topic. I try to keep the video as short as possible. Send me some messages, comments, like the YouTube channel, which helps me out a lot. Subscribe. And again, DM me on LinkedIn. Send me your comments for any more questions. Email me at jerry@pro-accel.com. And I'll talk to you on the next one.